Hey Dave, hey Richard, how's it? It this
Doing
is a
well.
this is a great, exciting season for Lego Masters. I'm glad you guys must be glad to be part of this.
Oh yeah, we're over the moon with it. It's just it's a great honor and a privilege to be on Lego Masters season 2. So couldn't say enough words about it, honestly.
Hey, so riddle me this: how does a DJ and teacher end up meeting each other for something like Legos over Legos?
I have an answer, but Dave, I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, you never would expect the two of us to be partners, but the story is that I made a Black Lives Matter Lego build and I posted it, and Richard made a wonderful and insightful repost of it on social media and added more with words than I could add with just the build. And he became an admirer of my work through that. And when it came time for a new season of Lego Masters, he reached out to me and asked if I would be his partner. And I looked back and remembered the conversation we had about it and looked at his social media. And I was like, this is actually the perfect person for me to partner with for Lego Masters because we have so much in common, even though you would think we have nothing in common. And our first phone conversation lasted 2 hours just talking about our lives and all the connections we had with each other.
Wow. Yeah, and just adding on to that is that for me, being a DJ, there's so much multitasking when it comes to being a DJ, and you are constantly around different types of people, and for someone who has to play different types of music and it's kind of like a chameleon in a lot of ways, I always am open to meeting new people and embracing new opinions and new perspectives. So to me, meeting Dave was just kind of like meeting any other person, and it just made it even better, the fact that we had so much more in common. So it was really just kind of like a matter of time, honestly, before we met.
So before the show actually started, did you two basically try to like develop like a chemistry or synergy with each other besides a 2-hour phone conversation?
Oh no, that was just what we talked about before we decided we would apply together. And then we talked probably, we didn't talk on the phone for an hour, we texted with each other for an hour and made connections. And even though we had never built together before, we spent so much time talking to each other that by the time, I mean, it's almost like we were like dating each other. Like it was like, you want to find out so much about the other person, and you're making all these connections, and you're like, oh, well, what was it like when do you remember this NBA Finals game? Or do you remember this Transformer toy? We're just making all these connections with each other that you wouldn't expect, but it was that trust that we built with each other, and through shared experiences and through talking about how our lives were connected, and not just through pop culture, but, growing up in cities, or, being an only child, or being raised by a mother. These are all things that we connected over and made our team special.
Yeah.
So when you guys finally got on the show itself, did you feel you had a certain advantage, or were you intimidated by the others? Because there are like husband wives teams or brother and sisters team and all this kind of stuff. And what was your guys' reaction when you first came onto this show?
Well, I think our initial reaction was that we were aware that many of the other builders had been building for most of their lives together, and we hadn't built anything outside of the casting final together. So we had to, that was going to work against us. However, in our favor, we had life experience. I think that was going to be just as important as anyone building their entire life together. So I would say our life experience and our vast knowledge of things and curiosity for things really allowed us to have no limits on where we were going to go with our builds.
So how do you guys handle that pressure, under duress and stress, of Lego building them together?
Ultimately, we are both adults, and we know that there's going to be stressful situations, and there's going to be times where I, probably say something that I would regret later. And I'm sure there's times Richard did the same, where he regretted some of his actions. But we're both adults. We have been through many more things, much more stressful than Lego Masters, as where we are in our lives. So in the end, we respect each other, we trust each other, and we know that this is just fun.
Yeah, and also I think we talked about this a lot going into the show, is that, we love sports, and we always have like sports metaphors, and we just always felt that there were going to be heated moments in the thick of the competition where we just like, we're pushing each other, but it's only because we want to make ourselves so much better. And we believe in each other, and it's none of it is coming from malice or anything like that. It's just like, we're competitive people too. I think that's also what it comes down to. So that's how we respond to the pressure.
So I'm curious. Did both of you picked up this Lego hobby since you were a whole lot younger?
Yeah. For me, it started right around the time I was like 10 or 11.
And I started as a 4-year-old.
Wow. That is terrific. So I know throughout this entire season, they have put you through like everything, wind, earthquakes, parades, even floating Legos and all this kind of stuff. What was the best competition that you enjoyed the most for both of you?
They were all great. They're also different. You can't compare one to the other. I can say specifically what certain ones were to me. I think like the demolition derby was the one that I had the most fun, because I have so many memories of like driving remote control cars, so it just brought it to the next level. But then the bricking wind, winning that one was kind of like, it was unlike anything else. It wasn't better than the first win, and it wasn't better than the second win. It was such a unique type of win because of the way coming off of a previous win. I mean, every build has its own story. So they're all special, but like there's certain things that make certain ones stand out, but they're all very near and dear to our hearts.
And obviously, with this week's elimination episode, you guys did the penguin coral thing. I'm curious, even if there was a wall divider, you guys can shout at each other on what you're actually building, or they actually prevented you guys from communicating at all?
You go ahead, Dave.
We had to be completely separate. In fact, we couldn't even go to the brick pit at the same time. Only one of us was allowed in the brick pit. So, but we trust each other, and that's the most important thing, is that we trusted each other, and that while we were building separately, when we came back together, that's what we got really excited about, that challenge, that we could put our ideas together and make something wonderful.
So as fans, when we actually watch, we're always curious what actually goes on your head when Richard saw Dave's penguin, and Dave when you saw Richard's coral. I mean, what was going through your heads when Will said, now you can combine the two?
Well, I was thrilled, because I was like, oh, good, because I built something that's pretty much all black and white. And Richard built something with color, and I think this is going to go together awesome.
I'm so glad you thought that, Dave, because in my mind I was like, this is what I did. Like I just looked at it, I was like, yeah, let's mash it up, and I know a lot of people are probably looking at me with these quizzical looks and just looking puzzled at the fact that I made something that is so it's practically an abstraction, but it was really the first thing that came to my mind, and I felt like this is probably the best idea that I have, and I think I don't regret it at all. I feel very strongly about the coral.
Well, this is a show full of curveballs and screwballs, but I have one last question. I think it's more directed to Dave. Dave, you had your last episode was very emotional when you actually pulled out those letters, and I know I've seen people tweeting about how they actually shed those tears. Where are those letters now? Did you end up framing them or keeping them or anything?
I have a journal that I kept while I was on the show because I don't want to forget anything that happened. And, sometimes when we were waiting to film, Richard kept a journal too. We would both just be sitting there writing down every single thing that happened because you don't want to forget it. And those are right there in the journal.
Oh, you both kept journals for this show. Wow.
Yeah. I wrote I wrote a lot more than I should have. Like Dave would write about one episode and a page. And it would take me 3 pages to write an episode. But it's also a metaphor for our team dynamic. That's just how we are. I might be a little bit more loquacious and have more to say and more nuance in how I want to present something. But Dave is very straightforward and very meticulous just as well, and has a lot of strong ideas about things. And I just couldn't say more about his style and his abilities and his ideas. It's just great balance.
That is terrific. I think you guys created great memories for yourself, and journaling it, because obviously video is not enough. So
Exactly. It's not. No.
So once again, Dave, Richard, hey, congratulations for this season of the Lego Masters. It's once again another very exciting season. Hopefully, you guys should ask for the memento of your little figs too. Maybe that would be a great memento.
Yeah.
Anyways,
thank you.
Thank you
Dave.
very much. Thank you for speaking to us. Thank you.